Hi, this is Shadi, and today we're going to be discussing ninjutsu. So there's a ninjutsu video on YouTube that's discussing how to deal with judo grips, and it's by a school called AKBAN. And I'll leave the video in the description below for you to check it out. So I do feel this video is a great chance to understand and explain the nuances of kumikata, because I do feel it's lost on a lot of people. Even jiu-jitsu black belts don't know what it's like to fight standing up in grip fighting. Lapel feed is a different thing in judo than in jiu-jitsu. Cross collar is different in the stand-up than on the ground. So here we need to understand a lot about grip fighting, that it is not what people claim to be. So here he's explaining that in randori, or in a fight situation, you don't give someone the situation that they want to be in. So for example, if I'm going up against a taekwondo practitioner, I'm not gonna give them the distance, which is something that I do agree with. So here he's explaining that in terms of judo grips, he says that I don't want to wait for him to do ippon seoinage. So he immediately initiates striking, and from there he initiates a grappling and gets rid of the judoka. So the first solution is he bends the elbow with his own elbow, strikes the face, which I do believe it works. Striking the elbow to the jaw works, and then performs a throw. He calls it a ganseki nage. It kind of looks like a tayotoshi if you want to put it in a gokyo context. So an underhook, and don't get me wrong, these techniques work. However, it does seem that there is a lack of understanding of kumikata, because kumikata is not just a grip and then standing there, unless you're a beginner. So when it comes to real kumikata, it has many functions. So kumikata, it is constantly shifting, it is constantly moving, and it is not only for the purpose of the throw. The purpose of kumikata, it's polyvalent, we say in French, so multiple goals for it. So here, as you can see, Kosei in a way is disorienting someone by constantly moving, constantly flicking his wrists and putting them in a state that it is uneasy for them, both mentally and physically. Their posture is compromised, and they're mentally disoriented, and they're mentally beat, and that's when the throw comes in. It's not just about gripping and then throwing. So this one here is a great example. He's showing you the Japanese way of how to disorient someone and really destroy their posture before truly attacking again. So gripping and just standing there, it's not gonna happen. Even while attempting to grip, they're gonna be circling around you. It is not simply, stepping in front of you and then just gripping. So let's see here the Elko van der Geest example one more time. He's constantly moving and constantly shifting his hands, flicking his wrists, moving all around the mat before even attempting to throw. He needs to make sure that his opponent is, first of all, not standing up straight and also defenseless. And this is what grip fighting is about. It's not just simply is gripping you like sleeve and lapel. Here's another example, the Korean example. You can see just how much there is movement and just how much there is like the lack of static, if I would say. So it's constantly moving, constantly shifting. It is in the goal of disorienting and keeping you guessing before even attempting to attack. So to say that he grips me and then I do this, it is not fully the case. Grip fighting, it is far more nuanced and far more complex than people understand. That's why I always say this. Only judokas and sambists understand what it's like to grip fight standing up. Even in jiu-jitsu, the grip fighting on the ground, it is more static, more friction, and a lot of the stuff that you think are basics are complete opposite in the stand-up. For example, in jiu-jitsu, on the ground, the best thing you need to do is have the cross collar and sleeve, while in judo it's the opposite, in order to throw someone and unbalance them. So here you can see the little detailing that's happening on the sleeve and on the lapel. It is not simply I just grip and I'm static. The grips are hooks, but everything else is constantly moving. Also, the moment a judoka gets his preferred grip against an inferior grappler, the attack is almost imminent. So no one is gonna stand there and wait for you to do your striking. And also the gap is closed in terms of striking. Isn't that how the Gracies actually won their challenges, by closing the gap? So I would say the striking is somewhat inefficient in this type of situation. So the next one here is actually getting rid of both hands on the lapel, which is something that does happen in the streets. So getting rid of the hands and then kicking the solar plexus forward, that's stuff that's gonna actually work, and I agree with this. But in a judo-like situation, gripping both lapels like Inoue did sometimes, it's gonna be constantly moving to the side, to the back, to the front, diagonally. So it's not a street-like grip where you're just gripping there and, you know, talking to them and, you know, grinning in their face. Now here, this one truly, I don't know how to explain it or what the comment it is, but this is something that, in my opinion, will never work. At least that's my opinion. He's talking about Kyusho, or like a vital point or a sensitive point, whatever you want to call them. I am a big fan of Kyusho, especially the throat, the nose, the temple, side of the neck, solar plexus, and groin. But here he's talking about this nerve, and it is there, but he's talking about this nerve that's in the slit between the bicep and the tricep, and he's talking about punching it to relieve the grips and then performing something like a kibisugaishi or an ankle pick, or kuchiki daoshi, like a knee pick. So again, we go back to this. Nothing is static and nothing is just waiting for you to do it. Maybe like a street fighter who just grips there and starts talking in your face, maybe you can do it, but in terms of this particular Kyusho, I'd say stay away from it, because the likelihood of you hitting it is just very low, and there's no way, in my opinion, that's gonna happen, especially against a judoka who is constantly on the move. And also, you don't know what it's like mentally to be put in this gripping situation. So to say that if they grip me like this, I'm gonna hit and then my technique will work, it's not that easy. It's not from the first time, and also it's not as you think it is. That's not how a judoka grip fights. So it's very important to understand grip fighting all in general. So I'm gonna leave you with this particular I would say advice. In this book, Jiu-Jitsu Combat Tricks, that was published at the turn of the century, they give like examples what to do against a boxer, how to block them, and how to use your jiu-jitsu. But at the end, they do provide a solution. They say that bring a boxer to your school and then constantly train with them in order to get these techniques correctly. So it's a very logical thing to say and to think about. And even back in those days, before the Valley Judo, before the UFC, before all these challenges, and they were saying that bring someone in and then train your technique against them. And I'm fully in support of this. So to this AKBAN Ninjutsu school, bring in a high-level grip fighter, a high-level judoka, sambis, and do train these techniques, because, you know, an elbow to the jaw, it works. Kibisugaishi, the kani basami that you showed, they do work, but you need to fully understand the nuances of grip fighting, and you need to be put in this situation where you are being dominated by a superior grip fighter to truly know, first of all, how capable you are and how defenseless you are. So it's two sides of the coin, either how good you are or how terribly out of control the situation is in your hands. So I do recommend that you bring in a judoka and fight them and see fully what it's like to do grip fighting. So if you have anything else to add, please let me know down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content like behind the scenes, uncut footage of things, and also full podcasts. But the main content will always be here on this channel, so please don't feel obliged, but your support would mean greatly. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.